First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakan Kwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that taught me this truth, and to include the elder bishops on down as well. And it's your brother Laban, and I can't forget saluting all of you brothers as well. All right, and what I want to do is I want to get into this topic of discussion that I lastly mentioned on my last video in regards to, once again, this topic of discussion of Iran and what it could lead to. You know, and there's a part in this video that I want to play without further ado. And this woman here, she's going to explain what will be had if this continues on. Okay, so let's get right into it.
Professor Khalili, you mentioned that they are looking for the Iranians to see which vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, to what countries they're affiliated, looking at their flags. Chinese vessels have reportedly been permitted to pass through the strait. China imports about 40% of its oil from the Middle East and has been one of the largest buyers of Iranian oil. There are also reports that the Iranians are suggesting they'd consider allowing a small number of oil tankers to pass through the strait if the oil cargo is traded in Chinese yuan rather than US dollars. If you could comment on that.
And the rubles too.
This is really fascinating because, of course, we know that the fundamental basis of the US imperial order since the end of the Second World War has been, on the one hand, petroleum, and on the other hand, the US dollar. The globe's production and finance worlds are dependent on the petroleum that the US has guaranteed the flow of since the end of the Second World War, and which, until the nationalization of oil in the 1970s and 80s, basically controlled something like 60% of the world's oil reserves. After nationalization, that percentage dropped dramatically, but the US dollar continues to be, and the financial channels that the US has crafted continue to be a very significant bolster for the empire. So the fact that Iran is actually looking for alternatives to the dollar in order to challenge the petrodollar regime, which is, as I said, one of the fundaments of the US empire, is a really interesting and quite clever indication of how the Iranians are hoping to influence the crafting of a world post this war, or a new world order post this war, where...
And that's exactly what it is a new world order. Now, of course, I get what she's saying. What she's saying is a new world order in regards to how, instead of it being backed by the dollar in terms of the petrol is concerned, now the petrol that they need to get over there is going to be backed by the yuan, and as well as the rubles. So as well as I said in my last video, I'm going to say it again. Now the world looks pretty damn different. And now it's basically, declared that America is no longer the power that it still conveys itself to be. As Trump is showing you. And I mean, you see, this is how you know when a power structure has been destroyed. It's based on the irrational behavior of the king. So if the king, especially if he's a wicked king, if he senses that he's lost his power, what is he going to act on? He's going to act irrationally. He's going to throw his weight around to remind you that, do you not know who the hell I am? That someone is in high regard, etc., etc. Okay, and that's how DJ Trump is acting right now. So that's how you know America's out of power. That's one way to know.
Multipolar financial system where, for example, the dollar is no longer a single currency that rules the world, and the US is the only channel that or the only power that controls financial channels, because of course the US has used this inordinate power to strong arm various states, to institute sanctions.
Exactly. Yep.
Difficult for its enemies, for example, to...
And this is why you had the BRICS, which came in. The reason why you had the BRICS is so that they can come together and have their own currency. So when America does place sanctions on them, they don't get affected by it. Because every nation has a treasury of dollars, if I'm correct, in the billions. So whenever America places sanctions on them, it has an effect on them. So it's not working anymore. The power that America once had and that it can dish out is no longer in effect anymore. We're moving towards, as well as she said, in this case, a new world order system. All right, but this situation here is going to cause the world to go towards that new world order system that Esau wants. All right, and I'm going to get there when I get there.
Oil as and of course to it has used it to coerce a lot of countries, as we see, for example, in the case of Cuba or Iran, or indeed Russia, to do its bidding. So the fact that Iran is calling for petro yuans to become an alternative to petrodollars is actually quite significant, also in indicating that the Iranians are well aware of how extensively the US has used its coercive sanction capabilities through its control of the financial channels and through its mastery of the petrodollar, and are trying to erode that power.
And just to mention this too, all of this stuff here between Iran and Israel and America, all of this has been pre-planned as well. Just to include, whether Trump knows it or not, it's all pre-planned for a greater cause. And the greater cause is to what? Again, as the title, as you can read it over here, the end of the petrodollar, how Iran's war is reshaping the global economy, because that's the goal. The goal is to change the global economy from a currency, a paper money or plastic money or fiat currency, to a technical way of doing business, a technical currency as well. All right. So we're very well enlightened to this, and thanks be to Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai for giving us this truth, as well as this is written. Because once you have this truth, now everything becomes clear and easy to understand, to get into. Psalms 19 and verse 7, and that's why we're able to tackle these topics. You think if we were in the world being symbolized niggas that we were, you think we could tackle all this stuff? We would be lost. We wouldn't know what they talking about. But now we clearly know what the deal is, because the Lord enlightened us, converting us back to the truth of who He is, which is the root of wisdom. What is it? Psalms 19 and verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord Yahweh is sure, exactly, making the wise the simple. All right, so there you go. So being that we're putting everything into practice and we believe on the word, all of this stuff is now made as wise and aware. Again, this is the reason why we can tackle these kind of topics. So anyway, I want you to see what this man has to say. This guy, he usually goes on this Jake's channel. I believe the name of his channel is called RDTV or something along those lines, which is a good channel as well. But there's a point that he's going to pretty much make on this video here, reading, a comment on the X. This guy here, David Bateman. So let me pull this back a little bit just to give you some context on what he's saying. So let's play this over here.
Iran fell for the COVID vaccine scam and
let's bring it back maybe
78%.
Right here.
And he made a comment on X, a post, a couple.
Yeah, this is David Bateman.
That I found quite interesting is from March 5th. He said the following: odd that despite the hostility between the West and Iran, Iran fell for the COVID vaccine scam and vaccinated 78% of their population.
Right.
Has to make you wonder if Iran and the West are already controlled by the same people, and this war is a hoax designed to effectuate Agenda 2030.
And I would agree, whether it be a hoax or not, who knows? But we know that Esau, as well as it was said by the former prime minister of this country, what was his name again, man? And he was in the time of the Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill, I believe he let that slogan be known, that never let a good crisis go to waste. He announced that slogan right there. So that's what they're applying right now, and that's a very good slogan, and that's what these elites and these politicians go by. right now the world is under a crisis with this Iranian situation. So they could very well use this crisis to move the world to a technical one at that, the one that they wish to do, a world full of surveillance, which is what the World Trade Center was all about, without going too deep into that. All right, concerning the Patriot Act, if you know what I'm talking about.
You couldn't plan a better pretext for crashing all global economies
Right.
than the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. Something tells me this isn't your garden variety U.S. military skirmish.
Because it would do that. I mean, listen, if they're going to war in the East, and that area over there, that region over there, which is known as, what is it? Saw Pod or something along those lines, and then you have Clark Island and all of these areas. If these areas are being hit, the oil, the oil machineries down there being hit, and the pipelines are being hit, the pipe heads are being hit, then guess what? Yeah, that's going to cause a global catastrophe to that of a collapse. So in that collapse, they can what? Reform the system in the world of having a great deal of surveillance. This is what it's all about, Agenda 2030, and that's what Agenda 2030 goes into. So let's read a little bit about Agenda 2030, shall we? The Agenda 2030 digital ID initiatives aim to provide secure, universal digital identification for all people by 2030, aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. These systems implemented globally are designed to streamline access to financial due to blockchain, right, health, and government services with specific applications in the UK and EU. Digital IDs often utilize biometric data stored on smartphones to enhance security and reduce fraud. Now, let me read the scripture over here. And then there's a point that I want to make with the CEO of Nokia. 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 5. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day, and we are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. That's why we got to keep our eyes peeled to what's happening, because the Lord gave us the heart and mind to understand this truth. So now we can be wide awake in examining the various trends and what's going on geopolitically, which will lead to Esau's official last agenda. Now, speaking about more on Agenda 2030, this is what the CEO of Nokia said in 2022, right? Based on comments made by Nokia CEO Pekka Lundmark in 2022, the prediction is that by 2030, right, coinciding with the expected widespread adoption of 6G technology, smartphones, as we currently know them, will no longer be the most common interface. Instead, many devices and technologies will be built directly into our bodies, acting as wearables or even implantable tech. And that's why what's his name, man? RFK, something along those lines, he even addressed if it was possible to wear wearables, because that's where it's going. So that's a part of the 2030 program. All right. These tech companies, which is going to make sure that you take that implantable device. That's where it's all going. All right. Proverbs 20 and verse 30 now. 5. As this reads, counsel is in the heart of man is like deep water, but a man of understanding will draw it out. And we can clearly see, because of course we're men of great understanding, not just understanding, but great understanding, because of this truth, right? So we can see the counsel of men, the counsel of Esau, play out before it even plays out. Why? Because the counsel of men is really the counsel of Yahweh, the Hashem Yahweh Shai. That's the reason why. It's the Lord's purposes that's going to be brought to fruition. Prophecy. Just to simply put it, in the meaning of that. In a dream and a vision of a night, this is Job 33 and verse 15. In a dream and a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction, that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. Exactly. So this very well tells you how the Lord operates when he controls men, and also how he controls men. Okay? In the deep sleep, upon the slumbers upon the bed, when you have your dreams, that's when the Lord pretty much works on your subconscious mind, the mind that is not the part of you which is not conscious. So from a minuscule thing to a major thing, you're going to end up doing, which he's going to put it in you to do these things before you even wake up. So that's how he has power over men, primarily the souls of the king. Okay, so that's why we know the counsel of men. Okay, the purposes of men, so to speak, which really is the Most High. And everything that these devils are doing and these other nations in combined, it's all intact with Bible prophecy. So this situation over here is very well going to bring the mark of the you know what. It has to. It has to. All right. It's got to, man. So that's all I got to say with this. The Lord ain't lying, man. Like, listen. The Lord announced that you're going to have wars and rumors of wars, nations against nations, and Isaiah, the prophecies of him, and Jeremiah about the destruction of America. But guess what? Before all of those things are had, you're going to have the mark of the you know what. That has to come to pass as well. All right? So we got to be very near and dear to the ending of the civilization, and the coming of the mark of the beast. We got to be so near to the mark of the beast. All right? That we're literally touching on that time. So that's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praise and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakak, Wadashim. With that, I'm going to close on this one, and I say Shalom.